everyone. This is Sukirti, and I'm back with another episode of ThoughtCast, our podcast series where we connect with India's leading CRE experts to understand the drivers of the changing workspace dynamics and how leaders can navigate through these changes. In today's edition of ThoughtCast, I'm excited to welcome Rahil Gibran, National Director and Head, Occupier Strategy and Solutions at Knight Frank. Rahil is a distinguished leader in Indian commercial real estate, and his expertise in the domain comes from spending over 18 years in the industry. He has been with Knight Frank for over 3.5 years now and was previously working with JLL India for over 14 years. Throughout his career, he has garnered deep relationships with major occupiers, landlords, developers, and flex operators transacting over 12 million square feet of office space. He has also demonstrated strong business acumen and leadership by driving his organizations to exponential growth. In this episode of ThoughtCast, we will explore the Bangalore CRE market with him and understand how the shifting occupier preferences are changing Bangalore's flex landscape. Welcome, Rahil. Thanks for joining us. It's great to have you today with us for this discussion.
Thank you, Sukirti. It's lovely to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward for a fruitful discussion today. Thank you very much.
So, Rahil, market trends show that Bangalore is leading the flex workspace demand in India. Let's deep dive into Bangalore's co-working market and understand what's driving its growth. So, Rahil, you have the vantage point of witnessing occupier workplace strategies as a core part of your current position with Knight Frank. What are the major shifts in occupier preferences that you've seen over a period of time? And how is it impacting the growth of flex workspaces in Bangalore?
So the definition of office has gone through a deep paradigm shift in the last few years, and that the pandemic has only accentuated it. The impetus to the managed office or the flex office business has been great because of the pandemic, because the flex office players, the mature flex office players, provide the cushion or the comfort for occupiers to take office spaces on a more flexible format with reduced lock-ins, with capex light, arrangements where there's flexibility to grow and degrow, etc. So there's been constant change, and it's a welcome change. Rather, the pandemic has been a disruptor, or rather made everyone mandated adapters of these changes. So this is essentially what we have witnessed in the past over the past few years.
Thank you, Rahil. I must say that was very interesting, all the points that you highlighted here. Moving on to the next question. Can you share with us what's the flex-based demand distribution currently, basis industry and products like flex spaces, enterprise solutions, meeting rooms, etc. in Bangalore?
Interesting question again. The good part is we are now witnessing some of the largest occupiers jump into the wagon of flex office spaces, and that's a good thing because usually these are the guys who define the real estate trends, and so it's great to see big names out there. But if you ask me, the distribution, it continues to remain medium and small scale enterprises. There's about 20 to 25% of space take up by them. The IT companies and the IT giants, the IT and ITES firms constitute to about 20%. Because Bangalore is sometimes colloquially also called as the tech Halli or Silicon Valley of India. There's a great startup culture here, so that also is a very dominating portion of the space take up. That's about 18%, 18 to 20% of the space taken up in the flex office spray is by startups. We also see a lot of tech companies, roughly about 5 to 7%, fintech companies about 5 to 7% again. and a major distribution of consulting companies are now looking at flex office spaces. So I think across the board, everyone has adapted to the idea to flex office space take up. And I think in terms of uh, what is the biggest welcome change is that more than the occupiers, some of the conventional and traditional landlords are welcome to the idea of having flex office providers as their tenants, which is a great endorsement to the maturity of this industry, which is also a great endorsement to the depth of this industry. So that is pretty much the distribution across.
Wow, that really sounds very encouraging for the entire industry. Uh, so Rahil, my next question is, how does the future of Bangalore's flex space demand look like in the next 2 to 3 years? And what are the factors that will contribute to its growth?
Usually, when we are looking towards the future, we always have to look into the past as well. And the past has been very encouraging. The numbers are quite astonishing at how the industry has grown. Back in 2019, the flex office space take up by operators signing direct leases was a rough 17% of the total absorption in Bangalore. And in 2020, even with the reduced, space take up because of COVID, the first wave of COVID, it dipped down to about 12%. But come 2021, and with the whole accentuated demand for spaces, this has gone up to about 21%. And we project the market to go up to 25% of the total distribution in absorption taken up by flex office or managed office providers. So the next 2 3 years, the trend will continue. Rather, this number will go probably up to 30% or perhaps more. And the reason being are the same reasons. I mean, flex is only a small portion of this business. Rather, I'd like to call it managed office because the industry is becoming more mature, more adapted, and people are not just looking at managed office as a short-term solution. Rather, occupiers are looking at managed office as a long-term stable solution because the positions and the spaces provided by some of the managed office players are world-class. They are far more intelligent than they used to be. They're sustainable, which also match into the health, safety, and security and HSSE standards of all of these companies. So the industry is only going to grow shoulder to shoulder from here. It has the potential of becoming one of the largest occupiers in the country if you look at the distribution. So and it only helps that most of the mature players such as AWFIS are pan-India players and have credible backgrounds and have solved problems of other occupiers in the past and come from a background where either projects or FM or finance, etc., which are essentially the problems for any real estate company. We are very confident that this can also go up to as high as 35 to 40%.
So while you're saying that the future looks bright overall in the next 2 to 3 years, what innovations in terms of technology, design, sustainability, etc., should the flex players of Bangalore next focus on?
Thanks, Sukirti. Again, I mean, these are questions that we are currently witnessing, or being asked by pretty much all our occupiers. The most important aspect in this equation is the employee. So there has to be a very strong employee proposition for, whether it is a traditional office or whether it is a flex office or whether it is a managed office, whatever the case may be, the most important aspect is the employee value proposition. what are we providing to the end user? What is the end user experience? How are we enhancing that end user experience? With the current, phrase that has been coined, that there is a phenomenal war for talent, it is all the more important to make the office attractive and more amiable for the workforce to come in and work and retain them. So points such as exploring buildings with green power, where you're helping the companies resolve their net zero emission targets. You're looking at intelligent occupier solutions such as the occupancy rate and the usage of meeting rooms, usage of power, and creating a more we space rather than a me space, where an employee can actually come and work, and rather is very encouraged to come and work. So the AI and technology form a very important part of creating these spaces. So all these elements that I spoke about will have to be tackled, or rather created, with the help of technology, with the help of AI, and this has to be. So all the managed office players right now, I would say, have become product and technology companies, and I think this is the only way to sort of approach it. LEED certified spaces, spaces which can offer green power, spaces which have intelligent building management systems, and committed landlords who also are mature enough to understand these problems and who are willing to partner and provide these kind of spaces.
That was very insightful, Rahil. So, Rahil, in your experience, do you believe that hybrid work has given confidence to companies to venture in tier 2 markets? And what do you think is the role of flex workspaces in making sure that this transition is smooth?
Well, if I am an occupier, if I have to put myself in the occupier shoes, I would want standardization of my office experience to be the same. If it is whether it is Bangalore, or whether it is NCR, or any part of the world. So, and at the same time, I have a very little lead time to, come up with the final numbers for my head count, and make the office more accessible to the employees. Hybrid and remote working is here to stay. Now we have the first part is to accept that the world has changed, the market has changed. If we can't get employees to come to office, we have to take the office closer to the employees, and that's where I think the demand for tier 2 cities has spurted, and we are now witnessing a lot of occupiers approach us, asking for quality spaces in these tier 2 cities. Now, how this gap of creating a standardized office culture, yet taking the office closer to where the employees have relocated or live, or there's availability of talent, works out is through the managed office model. If we have flex office operators who have taken up positions and who solved all the teething issues of a building, like electromechanical issues, because the tier 2 landlord may not be as sophisticated or matured as a landlord of a Bangalore or a Mumbai or a NCR or a Hyderabad. There's, they may not be as ahead on the learning curve. So a managed office player with all their expertise in solving the client's problems form as a very important layer of solving these problems and giving a very uniform work culture to the occupiers who want to take the office closer to where the employees' talent base is located. So they are major problem solvers, and they come with a badge of credibility of having operated millions of square feet in the country. The demand for tier 2 cities is real. For how long it may remain, it's a question that needs to be answered over time. It's an evolving question. But the managed office players are playing an important and a great role. We are seeing not just smaller offices being take up in tier 2 cities, but we are seeing single take up of about 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 seats, ranging up to this large quantum as well. So to provide that experience, occupiers may not have the expertise to venture out on their own and create these experiences. They will need the support, they will need the experience, and they will need the bandwidth of a managed office player, because a managed office player only does not provide for a great office. They also ensure that because of their millions of square feet of ongoing work, the lead time to create such an office is also reduced. The quality and the pricing in terms of their procurement prowess is also far superior than a standalone occupant going and using their trying to procure the same items. So this is exactly what if we have to create a bigger stock for Indian real estate and create more mature cities and create more cities having grade A world-class real estate. I think we are at that very, very important precipice where managed office players are playing a big role in evolving the corporate real estate market of a tier 2 city.
Great. Thank you so much for answering this. Lastly, you've been associated with CRE industry for the past 18 years now. What are the changes that you've observed in the industry since 2006, 2008, around the time when you joined this industry? What are the major changes that you've seen?
Let me actually start by saying what is the one thing that has remained constant over the years, rather than telling you what has changed, because there have been a lot of things that have changed, and I'll tell you a few. But what has remained constant is the average rental of the country has the average warm shell rental of the country when I started my real estate journey up till today has been sub-dollar, right? Which means when the average rental of the country was about 45 rupees, the rupee to the dollar was about 45 rupees. And today, the average rental of the country is about 80 bucks, and rupee to the dollar is also about 80 bucks, which has been a great growth story for us because India still remains a completely viable and a formidable real estate market, providing extremely world-class real estate solutions. So this one thing has remained constant. Now, let me tell you the things that have changed, since the journey began. While I started real estate, India was not necessarily known for its superior, skilled, employees. We were a back office or a knowledge processing sort of a country then. But now we are solving the world's problems, whether it is technology and product, whether it is software as a service, whether it is R&D and engineering, or whether it is new product development, or sophisticated, products, etc. So that we have seen the whole growth cycle of being at a very low end of the pyramid, solving the world's problems, to solving real world's problems, and rather coming up with breakthrough ideas and expertise. For example, if there is an Uber, there is also a formidable force like an Ola. If there is an Amazon, there's also a formidable force like a Flipkart. So we've come a long way, and you can only imagine this wouldn't have happened if there was no support of the whole industry. I think CRE brokers, corporate real estate brokers, IPCs have played a major part in this. Landlords have gone and upskilled and upgraded themselves, have made, are evolving day by day by creating more world-class tech parks. Managed office providers, which has been a relatively nascent industry, which is not more than maybe 7, 8 years old, has come and changed the whole game. They have, and this industry has witnessed growth like no other, because you can only imagine the growth only demonstrates that they're actually solving the client's problems. So large occupiers are adapting, flex office models. So like I mentioned, the constant that has always been there has been a major driver for the change in the industry, and that has been to the positive.
Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with us your observations on the various aspects driving the growth of flex workspace market in Bangalore.
Thank you, Sukirti. It was a very interesting and well curated Q&A round. I really enjoyed answering the questions.
Thanks again. I'd also like to thank everybody for listening in. We will be back soon with another interesting discussion to uncover the trends that are driving the growth of co-working industry in yet another city. Till then, take care and stay safe.